So now I had two radical propositions. One, God did not make this world or the universe. Two, in order for God to exist, in order for God to be real, God had to have a beginning. God evolved. God exists and is real only because Charles Darwin was right. But that brings up another question. Where did God have his beginning? At what point? At what place? What was God's species? Where did God evolve? I need a world in evidence. I need a world where I know there's an intelligent species. Well, by Jove, I happen to be standing on one. And it's the only one that we as humans to this date know has an intelligent species. So God began here, this world. Furthermore, God had to be a human. It's the only intelligent species we have in evidence. Don't go arguing to me about the Klingons. Those are the inventions of, Gene Roddenberry. The only intelligent species that we know of is humanity. So now I had three radical propositions. One, God didn't create the universe or the world that I live on. Second, God evolved. God had to have a beginning. There was a time when there was not God. There was a time when there was God. An evolutionary process was involved. And third, God evolved on this world and from the human species itself. Three radical propositions. None of it provided by any religious teaching that I know of. And I've studied a lot. But that really poses a massive problem. Big problem. How long do you think humanity has been around as an intelligent species? If we say that man became intelligent, truly intelligent, with the rise of civilization, the beginnings of the very first communities, when they go from the family clan to the tribe and its complex customs and laws, to the very first city-states of Sumer or Jericho or Byblos or any of these very ancient cities. How old would you rate mankind? The intelligent species. As a species, we've been around probably, 50, 60,000 years. I'm not talking about Homo erectus. I'm not talking about Homo habilis. I'm talking about Homo sapien, thoughtful man. The one who's now trying to quantify, to find their place, to control, manipulate, to predict. How old is that? 60,000 years at best? Maybe 7,000, 8,000 years at the least? How long do you think it would take someone to evolve into God? Millions of years? Certainly. Billions of years? Certainly. How about trillions of years? Well, how can you get something evolving from a species that's only been around as an intelligent species for about 60,000 years, if it takes that long to evolve into God? Quite a problem, don't you think? It is until you read Einstein. You become familiar with the Einstein-Rosen bridge can humans travel through time? Of course we can. We do it all the time. Every time we send up astronauts in the space shuttle to go into outer space, they step into the future just by fractions of a second. They know this because they put an atomic clock on the space shuttle, and they have one down here, and they watch time slow down as that space shuttle is lifting off the pad. So when they come back, they're younger than we are, just by a fraction of a second. So we know that where humans are right now, we can travel into the future by tiny little segments of time. But we can't travel into the past. Question can be asked, could God do that? Science certainly says, Einstein certainly says, that the road of time goes both ways. In fact, the road of time does more than just go in linear fashion. It has little eddies and whirlpools and takes little deviations and goes up and goes down and sideways and reverses back on itself. We can't do that where we are now with our science. But God could certainly do that. When did God evolve? How could God evolve into God from the human species when mankind has only been around as an intelligent species for about 60,000 years? How could he do that? How can we talk about God now, prior to the existence of God, the expression of God, the experience of God, that so many spiritual people feel in a very anecdotal way, but it's still a feeling. It's that aesthetic response that philosophy likes to talk about. What's going on? Well, that led me to the fourth radical proposition. God can be said to have evolved from humanity only because God came back to their beginning place over an extraordinarily long period of time. God came back in time and brought some of their spirit children with them to save the world on which they evolved. Now, I had a complete framework that worked.